What's up, everybody? It's CMP with Craftmaster Productions and Studio1Tutorials.com. Don't forget to stop by Studio One Tutorials. Pick up your premium membership. It's 50 cents a day. Also, please, guys, follow me on IG. It's the quickest way to get a hold of me. If you ever have an issue with Sample Class or Studio One Tutorials or something on CMP Kits. Speaking of CMP Kits, please stop by. Get yourself a copy of Trap Chords for Scalar Volume 3. Excellent chord sets. They can be used in your MPC standalone inside the software, and they can be used in any DAW that has scalar. These are scalar sets, and they're amazing. Lots of color tones and extensions. Speaking of color tones and extensions, let's talk about color tones and how important they are. These are notes that you can add to any chord that will give your chord more life and character. And the more that you use color tones, you're going to notice something, right? Your ear is going to begin to associate each different color tone with a vibe, all right? Much in the same way that certain scales can be described using emotion, for example, the major scale being the bright and happy scale, the minor scale being the dark and sad scale. It's the same thing for color tones. And it's not because these notes carry that vibe all on their own, but more so that musicians have utilized them in the past in such similar ways that we have them associated with different vibes in our memory. Here's an example. The seventh extension. Say you were to build a chord in the piano roll. It could be a major or a minor. To do this, you would engage your scale helper and then click in every other note in the scale until you had 3 notes. That would be your triad. Now, if you take this one step further and repeat the process of clicking in every other note in the scale, the next note that you clicked in would be a seventh. Here's an example. Now, do you hear what the seventh extension does to this chord on its own? I associate it with brightness. You might make a different association, but what matters is that you begin to make these associations. That way, when you are composing, you can think to yourself something like, all right, so I have this nice walk down and I think it's almost perfect, but I would like it to be brighter, right? Now you can reach back into your musical memory and say, okay, let me take some sevenths and add them onto this progression, that because I associate this extension with brightness, right? Let's look at the next example of just that. Did you hear how the first progression was kind of dull? It just kind of steps down the scale and doesn't really stick out. It felt sad, but it doesn't have that sense of longing and it doesn't really grab you, right? So when we go ahead and add the seventh extensions to the first, third, and fourth chords in the progression, it automatically felt like the emotional content got turned up. And while the progression did feel much brighter, notice that it did not feel happy. That is the key that I need all of you guys to remember, especially you guys that write triads or just stumble across your progressions. You can write in triads and get the basic feeling of your piece first. Then sit, listen to it, ask yourself, does this convey the emotion that I want? Is it gripping? Do I feel like this is 100% done? If the answers to any of those questions is no, then the next step is to go back to those triads and apply extensions. Today we learned how to make any progression brighter regardless of the emotion. So please, if you made it this far and enjoyed the video, smash the like button, hit subscribe. Let's defeat the algorithm and get this info out to our fellow loop makers and sample creators. That way they can enjoy and grow from the content as well. With that, I'd like to tell you to keep it simple and do not be basic. And we will see you on the next one.